Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. Uh, in recent videos, I've actually talked about this quite a bit. The idea of marriage, in particular, marriage in the West. And for me, this is a bit of a topic that not necessarily that I struggle with from a standpoint of how I think and my observations from the world, but it's more of a struggle within the realm of my faith and how I see things being in particular for men in the West. And they are almost totally in opposition with one another. But before we get into marriage and my thoughts on marriage within the West, I want to ask you guys to consider hitting that subscribe button, like, comment, share. You know the drill. And without further ado, let's get into this. So we're actually going to react to this episode or clip from the Whatever podcast. I've actually reacted to quite a few episodes of the Whatever podcast. Maybe one of these days he'll invite me on. We shall see. Here are my notes, just some of the points that I want to hit on. So let's just dive into it, shall we? I already touched on this. I'm an Orthodox Christian. I put the word struggling, but I wouldn't necessarily, like I already explained, it's not struggling in the sense of I'm struggling what to think. It's struggling in the sense of my faith versus what I see out there externally with the idea of marriage within the United States and the West. So let's dive into that first point. As I said, I already touched on it, but for me in particular, within the Christian faith, it is very clear on the two options that you pretty much have. You can either be totally, completely celibate and, live a monastic lifestyle, or it's best to find a spouse, a wife if you're a man, a husband if you're a woman, and have kids if you can. It's pretty straightforward. Any other Christian who says anything else is just totally lying and allowing secularism into their worldview. Now, with this, as I said, I know this to be what it is. This is the case, and all things being equal, this would 100%. It just would be what it is. And what I mean by the United States and the West, and the point that I'm trying to get across here is that my faith is in direct opposition, not necessarily directly or fully, but it is pretty close to being in opposition with each other. And within the United States and the West, you have a situation where this secularism has been promoting itself for years and years and years. But you also have this underlying understanding that the culture at large has seen and believes they should do. I mean, you see all of these modern women ending up, like, if they go on a podcast or whatever podcast, most of them say that they want to get married one of these days. But then you continue to listen to their answers. For example, they've been with 20, 30, 40 different guys, but they also want to have a monogamous marriage. And you start to ask yourself, how does that even make sense? On one hand, you have this idea of marriage, which is spiritual. It's a bond. It's a relationship to another person fully and completely. You're serving one another. But on the other, you have this very secular, feministic ideology creeping in, where no woman can be bound by any guy, and it's bad for a woman to serve any man. And then you also have some of these guys out here who see some of the issues that I see with the West, and but they do it. They're basically just two sides of the same coin. They're building up their life pretty much with the whole sole purpose of being able to attract tons and tons of women. So just to get straight to the point, the reason why this is in conflict for me is because I am an Orthodox Christian. I'm going to be chrismated here very soon, and I do know what it says in the Bible. Either you live a monastic lifestyle, or you get married and find a wife. However, it is glaringly obvious to anybody who has their eyes open that, number one, the current society is overwhelmingly against men, in particular straight white men. Number two, you have this influx of ideologies and I guess theology. Let's just use feminism, for example, that basically just corrupts and infiltrates this pool of women in which you have to choose from. And so pretty much your whole pool is sullied, which sucks. And it basically means it's a lose-lose proposition. You go further down the line and you find that if you do get married, the stats are against you 50%, if not more. And in divorces, it's even worse for second marriages and so on. I believe I would actually need to check that, but I do know it's about 50% roughly first marriages end in divorce. The court system, which I will get to, is terrible, totally against men. If you have kids, you're almost certainly, if the woman is not, an alcoholic or a drug dealer or, prostitute, even then, even if she is a prostitute, there's still a good chance that she would win custody over the kids, as opposed to the man. So you just have all of these forces going against you. Now, the second point that I have here, and then we're going to watch a little bit of the clip, and I'm going to react to the whatever clip. There's been some people who have responded to me saying what I've said, because basically my position is, with all of those things going against men, it is a huge risk for men to enter into a marriage. And I tend to lean towards the position of it's just not tenable. In this day and age, I just don't believe by the laws of the land that getting into a marriage is beneficial for a man. But I am also an Orthodox Christian, which fully understands what the Bible is asking and saying that you should do as a man. And I've had people say their arguments. There's a wide variety of arguments, but one of them is, well, you should just be a strong man. If you're a strong man or a strong Christian, you'll just make it work. You'll find a way to make it work. And I guess on its face, it makes a little bit of sense. But even then, it doesn't get rid of the problem in which you're addressing in the first place, which is it being a huge risk for men in general. And the metaphor that I like to use is it's akin to seeing a burning building and running inside anyways and hoping not to have some fat ass piece of barbed wire or panel or, wooden structure fall on top of you, not to get burned, so on and so on. So I reject that entirely. Now, I do also think that if you are, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a strong man. You should. If you are a strong man and you are a strong Christian, I think that I know that women will respect that more. They will find it more attractive, which will then in turn make it more likely that she will stay with you and respect, because she respects you, because she looks up to you. And it does strengthen the likelihood of your marriage being successful. So I will say that. So here we go. We're going to watch a little bit of this whatever clip and just see what we got here. Oh, hold on. I probably need to turn on the sound. Thank goodness. Sometimes there's been a few videos that I've made where I I'll get all the way through the video and forget to turn the sound on. And, only in the comment section, people are like, what the fuck? Where's the sound?
I just wanted to know. To be honest, I was just being nosy. You were asking all of us.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't reveal too many details, but yeah, honestly, I found that dating just seems kind of at this point, I don't know.
Can I just ask you this real quick?
Sure.
Are you dating? Look, not dating. Okay, I guess.
up?
I don't know how to
Just
word
ask.
it. I don't know how to word it, but I'm saying like when you date, like, are you thinking like this is gonna be my wife? Like, I don't know.
I'm
because
not gonna. I'm probably not gonna get married.
Now, maybe this is going to reveal itself in this clip, but the chick who's asking the question, I believe she's on OnlyFans. But and this is what I was talking about with this direct opposition. You have these chicks who on one hand are on OnlyFans living that type of lifestyle, but then on the other fully expect to find a husband and enter into marriage, which in and of itself, and this is why it's so weird, in and of itself is a traditional concept. And, that just is what it is.
You're not gonna get married?
No, I could have a life partner, but
Why
I
not
don't need the
getting
government.
married?
I don't need the government involved in my love life.
That's true.
There's no benefits to a man.
Yeah, and
married.
also it's just like it's a big L for men in the United States.
Financial suicide.
Which I already touched on a little bit. I could not agree more. It is absolutely a huge risk for men. Let's just play this scenario out, and yes, and by the way, women have a lot to lose as well, but it's just different things to lose. And I don't think they lose it as much as the modern man does. But let's just play this scenario out. If you're a guy and you meet this girl you really, really like, and you're a traditional man, you open the door for the woman, you pay for the meals, you even pay to help out with certain things within her life, and things like that. And this continues for, let's just say, 2 years. By the end of it, you probably have spent upwards of thousands of dollars. Now, personally, I don't know, because the one long-term relationship I was in, I didn't pay for shit. I was a couple of years ago when I was very, very young. So I don't know what that figure looks like, but I think it's safe to say that if you did that and you weren't doing it extravagantly, but you did it modestly, over the course of 2 years, you'd probably spend at least $10,000, I would say, overall. And you play that out, and one day some other guy comes along, or hell, maybe another guy doesn't even come along, and she just wants out of the relationship. That is your time, your energy, and your resources completely down the fucking toilet. And the thing is, I wouldn't even give that example if it was something that seldomly happened, but it happens all the time. In fact, I would say what happens even more than that example is men will put resources into a few different women, but they don't have enough and they don't command the respect to hold down that one chick. So they end up, that chick leaves him, then he finds another, and he ends up simping on her. Then she leaves him because she finds something better. She finds a real strong man. Then, he finds another chick, simps for her. And so, he's even worse than dropping a ton of money and resources on one chick who ends up leaving you. You end up dropping it on several chicks who you don't have any long-term thing with, which is just terrible.
It's
Self-deletion.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I'm a high earner, so it's a big L for me if I get married. Go ahead.
A lot of girls do want to get married, and I think it would be really hard for you to find a girl that's going to.
That's true. And this is why things are so fucked up right now. And this is why the whole concept of marriage within the West is so messed up, because especially from the women, they're being torn between two sides. they have this feminist infiltration from the time they are 10 years old. And then they also have what they see in Disney movies, if they have a mom, what their mom has told them. And they just have this kind of innate desire to be a wife. And these two things are at such odds and such tension. And this chick who has this tension enters into a marriage, and it's like, well, which one's going to win? Is it going to be the feminist, or is it going to be the traditional wife? I mean, which one ends up winning? And it's pretty much, it's exactly what you would think. It's 50% chance it's good. The feminist is going to win, and 50% the traditional outcome is going to win. If you look by the divorce numbers. So it's not really surprising that the numbers are what they are, because you have all of these modern women entering into marriage with these dualistic theologies within their thinking.
Be a lifelong partner with you if you're not going to put a ring on her finger.
And it's also hard to find
What's
a
that?
lifelong partner.
I was just saying, like, without the ring.
I totally disagree with that, by the way. Women will put up, or not put up. That's the wrong turn of phrase. Women will look past a ton of things for a man who is very high value in either a lot of categories, or at least one or two that fit exactly what they're looking for. And what I mean by the one or two is, if you have a guy like Brian, who's not the best looking guy in the world, he's not necessarily top tier in that regard, but he, by his own words, he is top tier as far as earning goes. And he will have no problem finding a chick, if he wanted to, who would be fine with him not wanting to marry her because of the reasons he just laid out. Reality, and man, so many things pop up in these videos, and this is why these chicks on the panel end up being pumped and dumped by so many men, because they end up going after these high value guys, but they have the mindset like they're dating some simp, like they can control him like some simp. And it's like, no. You got it twisted. See, the very things that you're attracted to him by are the exact reasons why he's not going to do everything you tell him to do, and this type of build-a-man bullshit. He's going to do what he's going to do it. And if you're not okay with it, he'll just find somebody else.
Ring, like, she's not going to want to be
She's
with you forever.
She's gonna
Fine.
dip.
No
But
problem.
if you find a
Girls
woman like
love
that,
commitment.
What do you think, Kaylin?
I think the same thing. If you're not going to commit to her fully, like in marriage.
What does full commitment even look like to girls like you? What does that even mean? I don't even what the fuck?
She's not going to want to stay with you, because why would she want to stay with you if there's like a chance you're not going to tell other girls you're married, so other girls are going to think like they can have a chance.
Well, I can be monogamous.
Yeah, you can.
What does you can be monogamous outside of a marriage?
Again, if there's no ring on your finger, though, a girl can.
Man, this is a perfect example of the phrase, women want marriages, they want the ring, but they don't want to be wives. Man, this is a perfect example of that whole thing, that whole turn of phrase right there. All right, had to pause it real quick. Let's resume.
Assume whatever she wants. It shows
That's a
lack
bigger
of
problem for
commitment.
women than it is
show-
men.
Yes.
It shows lack of commitment.
Lack of commitment.
It doesn't show that you're as interested in the girl
Yeah.
as they are probably in you.
Well,
It makes
women.
Yeah, but it's just, man, the logic they use, they never allow men, or rarely allow men to hold the same logic, because you'll have all these guys come on the show and say things like, yeah, no, I wouldn't, if I don't want you to go out, like, I would expect you not to go out. And you have these girls who respond back like, no, I should be able to do whatever I want. You know, if I want to go out, I'm gonna go out. You know, I'm gonna do my thing. No man gonna hold me down type of bullshit. But at the same time, that's basically what they're saying right here. They're basically saying the exact same thing, just in reverse.
Women don't hit on guys. I don't think you realize this.
Sometimes I hit on
think
guys.
women
I just hit on
don't.
Eric right now. I told him he
Modern
was
day
10.
women
Oh my
hit on
God.
guys.
I have.
Women
Or
do
no, I
not.
have.
Women do not regularly hit on men, approach men.
So yeah, I just find that hypocrisy pretty funny, but let's keep watching here.
Men on dating apps, send the first message, send
I do.
DMs. Hold
I-
on, stop interrupting. With the same frequency that men do to women. So it's actually, if I don't have a wedding ring on my finger, women don't approach me. Like, women don't approach.
Now, I will say, I mean, women do it. I know from experience that they do it. I don't think, but in my anecdotal experience is, you know, from high school and college, not so much now as an adult. I've maybe had it happen once or twice as a full-blown adult out of school and everything. So it's much more rare. And I feel like, oh, look at me sounding like a chick here. I think that mostly happens with older women because they know that they need to up the urgency a little bit. They gotta up it up a little bit.
Dudes. Yo, women, you think women approach men? Okay, I'm speaking in generalities here.
Okay.
When I say, do you think women approach men? I mean,
Generally?
to the same degree that men do.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Generally, no.
Okay.
Most women don't.
Sure.
But
So a ring on my finger is kind of irrelevant. And also, I just point to a girl, that's my wife. I don't need the government to say,
fair enough.
because I'm very anti-government.
Okay.
So I don't need the government involved.
Another great example of what this shows is how much women care about status and the materialistic aspect of things, because a man can compartmentalize. A man can go, you know what? I don't like this, and in a perfect world, yes, I would be able to marry you by the letter of the law. But for now, that's not possible. So I'm just gonna, you're my wife, and I'm gonna be able to treat you the exact same as if the government said so as well. Whereas for a woman, as you're seeing here, it's very, very fucking difficult for them to do that. Like, they basically can't do it. You know, they need the status, they need the ring, they need to be able to, you know, post on Facebook or, you know, Instagram, Twitter, these wedding photos and have the actual visual representation to, and you know, to be able to say, it's my wedding, you know, anyways, you get the point.
My love life.
I actually think it's the girl's job to try and get the ring.
Agreed.
Okay.
She has to be marriage material for her to get the ring.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
understand what
I
you're
agree
saying.
with that.
Absolutely. She has to abide by my
Go ahead.
standard. I'm sorry.
About 80% of divorces happen because of women. So I understand why men do not want to get married. But with that aside, would you consider a prenup? Since you can like choose what percentage you get and what percentage she gets if something were to go down.
Yeah, you mentioned a prenup. Absolutely
lie.
not, because prenups are thrown out. Oh, hold on.
Jin's donated
Prenup.
$50. A man using a woman for her body is demonized and a cancelable offense, while a woman using men for their wallet is considered acceptable. Question is for all. Is dating a man for money that he worked hard for equal to getting in a relationship to smash?
Let's skip that bullshit.
Money
It was
that
just
he
a
worked
comment,
hard
not a
for.
question.
Is dating a man
Oh.
for money?
To come back to that one, just so I can finish off on this prenup thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so prenups are regularly thrown out all the time. They're
true.
typically non-enforceable, especially the longer the marriage goes on, the less likely they are to be enforced. So
Because listen, guys, all it takes, and it's really like, because men think logically and in a very rules oriented manner, that it's this or it's this. They think, well, yeah, I get the prenup, and legally that's what it is. But in reality, all it takes is one fucking major feminist judge to go, no, that's not fair to her. No, I'm not going to uphold it. and it's done. It's you are you got to pay her.
So, you know, you hear a lot of these stories, prenups just get thrown out. I think it happened to Dr. Dre. He had a prenup with his wife. He got took to the fucking cleaners by his wife. So, like,
and that's Dr. Dre, who probably can afford some of the best lawyers, has top G money, and still, now, in fairness, whatever chick he was getting divorced from probably was able to afford a decent lawyer as well. But
to me, it doesn't make sense. The United States and a lot of Western countries are going to have to rewrite the marriage laws to incentivize men to get married, because men are waking up to the fact that men get absolutely destroyed in marriage and in divorce. Financially, when it comes to the kids, women are more likely to get custody.
So this is a good place for me to go back to my little note sheet here. So I wanted to give an anecdotal example. So for me, and I'm okay sharing this, my dad, you know, he, just to have you guys visualize what type of man my dad is. The one negative thing that he has going for him, or has had, whatever, is he's 5'5". Okay. He's always been a short guy. Now I'm 6'1", 6'2" on a good day. Okay. Not sure how that happened. And yes, I am my father's son for sure. But other than that, definitely an above average man. He finished as a senior master sergeant in the Air Force when he retired, has a master's degree, very intelligent man, shredded, in shape like crazy, top 1% in shape guy, runs marathons. You know, back in the day, he competed naturally in a bodybuilding competition, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, was and has always been a man that can be counted on. You never wondered if you could count on my dad. You know, not necessarily a stoic guy, but he did what he was supposed to do always. So point is that my dad, by all intents and purposes, is a quality man. If you just want to put quality or not quality, okay, quality man. And my mom, who has been an alcoholic and was at the time of the divorce happening, who smokes, who was very promiscuous, still almost got custody of me. Now, thank God that did not happen. But anecdotally, I can say that it is very much not in favor of men. And I'll even go a step further. I was thinking of not sharing this part, but it's no big deal. It's been years now. My mom even agreed to give custody to my dad if she could keep all of the material aspects that came from their marriage. Now, she later recanted on that, but it just goes to, and she still almost won custody of me. All this terrible shit that you can think of, she still almost won custody of me. Now, again, thank God that did not happen. Now, with my sister, and you can say that this definitely shows a pattern in my dad with regards to picking low quality women, and I'll be the first to admit that with his second marriage, when they got divorced, he, again, no major issue that existed, he still at the very beginning only got I believe it was 25% custody of my sister. I think he got to see her every other weekend and like every Wednesday or some shit like that. And we lived like 5 miles from each other. We lived in the same suburb of where we lived. So, and she 100% went, was with her mom, my stepmom at the time, totally won that whole thing. And at the time I could not understand it. I mean, I knew a little bit of what it was because of my dad expressing the struggles that he went through. And let me tell you, fellas, it was brutal. I mean, I have seen my father go through the lowest of the lows. I mean, I was with him through everything. Okay. When I mean everything, I mean everything. So I've seen how low this can take men. And as I said, and at the time, I could not understand how at the very least it wouldn't be 50-50, considering my dad had no discernible negative quality that would not permit him to have 50%. So that's the anecdotal example that I wanted to give. Let's keep watching this clip. Oh,
you're gonna the financial cost of just getting the attorney, getting all that involved. If it's a contested divorce, or you're gonna spend mid 5 figures, 6 figures on.
One more example of my dad being a quality man is, look at myself. Okay, I am a well-adjusted young man, bachelor's degree, master's degree, not the end all be all, AA degree, good full-time job, staple in the community. So I am a perfect example of the quality man that he is. And any negative thing that I have to say is not meant to bash him. Rather, it's meant to be explanative and to get information across and to get lessons across. It's not because I love my father dearly and I am eternally. If I love my father so much that if his life was on the line and he didn't know that I had the option to put my life on the line so he could live, honestly, I would do it in a second. I owe him 10 times over.
Attorneys, and you got to pay for her attorney too if it's not a 50-50 relationship. So, I mean, 50% of marriages end in divorce. I think you said 80% of
one more thing. I played Division I water polo. Anyways.
Divorces are initiated by women.
90% if she's college
educated. Yeah, 90% if she's college educated. 90% of child support payment.
Yeah, that stat is brutal, man. It basically, for me, has made the fact, it's basically made women who graduate from college a no-go. Like I would be willing to see them and entertain them, but as far as anything past that, ugh.
Payments go from men to women. 97% of alimony payments go from men to women. So it's just marriage. If you're a betting man,
97%.
It's not a good bet.
Let's go back.
And if you're a betting man, it's payments go from men to women. I think you said 80% of divorces are initiated by women.
90% if she's college
educated. Yeah, 90% if she's college educated. 90% of child support payments go from men to women. 97% of alimony payments go from men to women. So it's just marriage. If you're a betting man, it's not a good bet for men. And we've done away with, you have no fault divorce. So a woman can cheat on you. She can get spit roasted and infidelity, and she can still get half her shit if she.
Miscellaneous expenses.
Damn, all these fucking ads. Google, man, puts all these ads.
Perfectly justified reason for wanting to divorce someone. Imagine that, cheating. You caught your wife cheating, and then now you have to pay her alimony for the next 20 years. Like,
damn,
that's absurd.
Yeah, man.
It is.
There's actually this case in Canada, Eric. I think you've looked it up before.
That is so fucked, guys. It really is. But guys, this is the reality. This is what is going on out here, and this is why men must be way more smart, way more intelligent, way more smart when it comes to this shit. I mean, for real.
In Canada, this guy was dating a woman, and they weren't married, and somehow he had to pay. It was just a girlfriend, didn't have children. he had to pay her support. He was a wealthy guy. He, went to court, not married. He had to pay her like alimony, basically. So marriage is an L for dudes. I don't know. I think it's the first one, Eric, if you want to pull it up.
I actually have something for this.
5,300 pounds. Just because she's the fairer sex. It's just, this concept of equality is fucking laughable. It is laughable. It's like this whole concept where some people are pretending that this alternative universe exists and this alternative set of truths and facts exist. But deep down, they know what it really is, because if you did not know that the woman was the fair sex, you wouldn't be doing shit like this. But that is why women are still protected. So even with this equality, women are still protected. So, and they're protected even more. And the reason because of that is because there was never any inequality. All that has happened is that it's given more women even more protection than they already have, because deep down, men do have this desire to protect and support the fair sex.
Man,
Hold on, just while we pull this up. Eric, you got it? Can you scroll up? Scroll up. The title. Canadian court asks man to pay $53,000 per month to ex-girlfriend as spousal support. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. It was something about like they were no children. Oh, here, I'll get this.
Alvin Sampson
all right.
$49 an holistic view. Ex-wives.
To be 50, 60, 70 years ago, where both legally, well, I don't know if much change has actually changed legally. There's been a couple shifts legally, but societally, also it was frowned upon to get divorced. Now it's like,
no shame.
Girl, like get fucking
right.
Divorced.
Get paid.
Now it's not a big deal. So if there's no incentive to
girl,
continue the relationship, to stay divorced, if there's no stigma to being divorced, then what is the incentive for women to get married and to stay married? Because here's one thing, in both business and in love, you do not enter into a contract where the other party is rewarded for breaking it. And
right. So true. Anyways, Brian actually does have a decent physique. I would say he's slightly above average on the look scale, because earlier I had made no homo, but earlier I had made a comment that he's not in a high, what I would consider a high value man as far as looks go. And I still believe that, but it's not like he's a scrub or anything. So let's wrap this up. Very interesting. We've already talked about a lot of this. I've given the anecdotal example with my father. We talked about the argument that I've been given, that people have given me, if you're a strong man or a strong Christian, you'll just make it work. And it's what you should do, and you'll just make it work. And then I've even I've had some people who are Protestants and even non-Protestants go, well, if you're truly a Christian, you'll just trust God to make sure it works. Well, so does that idea work with cancer? Does that idea work with people who get hit by a bus? I mean, bad things still happen, even when you trust God. That's just the facts there. Kids, alimony, custody, almost all going fit. Not almost all. Pretty much all. Pretty much the same fucking word. Pretty much all. Nearly all. Go in the favor of the woman. It's a huge risk overall for men. Huge risk. And then the last thing I want to touch on, and I did already talk about this a little bit, but still expected to be a traditional man and put tons of resources into women. And that's the whole thing that is either the worst or the second worst thing of all of this is women in the West can be non-traditional. They can, and this is, to me, this illustrates how not equal we are. Women have the option to be traditional or non-traditional. Men do not. Men who are like Brian, who say, no, fuck that. I'm not going to pay for every meal or for the whole meal. I'm not going to, I'm not going to submit to my gender roles if you're not going to. Get huge pushback when they're that way. And women are stunned by it. And the phrase that that women are non-traditional. What's the phrase? Women expect traditional men when they are not traditional women, or modern day women expect traditional men when they are not traditional women, is so true. And so my best advice, just to end this on an advice note, is, and my advice has been the same from the get-go, and I'm open to any disagreements or anything I should add, anything that I've maybe overlooked. But my advice would be, if you're a man, and I've even heard Mike Cernovich talk about this, don't even consider, if you're a modern man, okay, all of these things require qualifiers. If you're a modern Western man, in my eyes, you should wait until you're at least 26, maybe even 28. I may even push it up to 28 to even consider getting married. You need to start building up your life so you can be in as strong a position as possible if you do consider rolling the dice with the whole concept of marriage. In general, this is a very tough topic for me because, as I've said, I am an Orthodox Christian, and I would love nothing more than to be able to have a certain amount of confidence with the concept of marriage, or a woman who I had thought about marrying. I wish I could have confidence with that, but I don't. I just don't. I would never fully tell you to not get married or to get married. For me, the last couple of years, and I haven't been perfect, what I try to do is live by what I said earlier. It's either you get married or you live the monastic lifestyle. And I've tried to live life in monk mode and build up my resources, build up my life, and things like that. Obviously it's not always the easiest. It can be lonely. It can be very tempting to do otherwise. At the very least, if you do consider getting married, as I said, I would wait until I'm at least 26, pushing to 28. I would definitely make sure that my shit was in order, that I had money put away. And if I did, I would also find a way to keep separate bank accounts, so that I had a nest egg that I was able to control myself. And I would basically try to put myself in as powerful a position as possible before. And it has nothing to do with having some supremacy over a woman. It's just, it has everything to do with, that's the only way to have any hope in hell of success. And the one more common pushback that I get is, well, just go to the church and find a traditional woman. And my answer to that is, okay, go to church, see how traditional those women are. I would say at least 50% of them are close to, or slightly, less than, but still pretty close, to being modern women as a modern woman is. They're very, very close to that direction. And when they're not, they're so far to the opposite side where it's like, fuck, I'm like dating a fucking nun here. Like, I don't know if I'd want to do that either. It's virtually impossible to just find a girl who is not a total fucking nun, but is also not a crazy modern woman skis ball that, you know, is threatening to ruin your life every 2 seconds. So it's not that easy. And furthermore, when it comes to the traditional women, it's like, okay, number one, only the top 10-15% of men are even really considered by and large by women as marriageable material. And when you go to the traditional women route, they're in high demand. So it's the bar is even high. The bar to entry is even higher. It's even more difficult. It's even more competitive. So very dire times, guys, very dire times. I don't have the perfect solution. Things are fucked right now. The court systems are fucked. It's very difficult all the way around. So anyways, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. The channel is growing immensely, and I'm so grateful to all of you guys who have decided to come on this journey with me. And you know, I'm going to continue putting out content at least one time per week and keep you guys up to date. I got some good ideas coming down the line. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy, Willow. In fact, our feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. See you kings next time. Peace.